Hello there, good morning, and you're watching Q News, and here are the top stories for this hour. Egypt's State Information Service has firmly rejected false claims that Egypt plans to temporarily relocate 500,000 Gaza residents to northern Sinai for reconstruction. Egypt's State Information Service also emphasized that such allegations are entirely untrue and contradict Egypt's strong stance against the displacement of Palestinians. This unwavering stance forms the core of the reconstruction plan Egypt presented at the recent Emergency Arab Summit in Cairo. U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff has stated that Israel demands Hamas disarm as part of any future settlement, allowing Hamas a brief transitional presence in Gaza. He asserted that Hamas seeks to retain control, which Israel deems unacceptable. Witkoff noted ongoing negotiations to halt Israeli airstrikes, emphasizing that dialogue remains key to reaching a resolution. Hamas has reaffirmed its right to resist Israeli occupation, rejecting the U.S. National Security Advisor's remarks equating victim and aggressor. It condemned Washington's bias and dismissed claims that Israel's self-defense was justified, labeling it an occupying force. Hamas accused Israel of rejecting ceasefire deals for political gain and blamed ongoing violence on its refusal to uphold agreements. The statement denounced U.S. complicity in Gaza's suffering through blockade and military support. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has announced plans to seize more areas in Gaza, expel Palestinians and expand buffer zones, citing security concerns. He threatened further territorial occupation and intensified military action until all Israeli detainees were released. Katz stated that Israel would apply military and civil pressure, including forcing Gazans southward and promoting a voluntary migration plan previously suggested by U.S. President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Israel is preparing for a large-scale ground offensive under Chief of Staff's plan, deploying additional forces, including reservists. Israeli media reports suggest that government aims to impose military rule over Gaza. While Israel eyes Hamas's total defeat, it also leaves room for a partial detainee deal. Israeli media also reports that Israel is laying the groundwork for full Gaza control, with ceasefire talks uncertain and U.S. pressure on Netanyahu lacking. Israeli occupation forces have intensified their operations in Tulkarm, ordering more evacuations in the northern neighborhood. Residents of multiple buildings were given under 2 hours to vacate their homes as the military planned to turn them into closed outposts. Volunteers from the Palestinian Red Crescent Society and local committees quickly arrived to assist families in evacuating and retrieving their belongings before the deadline imposed by the Israeli forces. In a joint statement, the governments of Germany, France and the United Kingdom have urged an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and called on Israel to allow humanitarian aid access. The foreign ministers demanded Israel restore essential services and medical evacuations per international law. They stressed that only a ceasefire and negotiations could ensure lasting peace. The statement also urged Hamas to release Israeli detainees, condemning the ongoing violence. France has strongly condemned the March 19th attack on a UN building in Gaza, which killed one UNOPS employee and injured several others. Offering condolences to the victim's family and the UN, France called for a thorough investigation to identify the responsible parties. The country emphasized the need to protect humanitarian personnel in line with international humanitarian law, commending the work of UN programs like UNRWA in Gaza and globally. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has warned that the continuous expansion of Israeli settlements was significantly altering both the landscape and demographic makeup of Palestinian territories. He emphasized that Palestinians were increasingly confined to shrinking, disconnected areas, jeopardizing the possibility of contiguous, viable Palestinian state. Guterres reiterated that Israeli settlements were illegal under international law and raised concerns about human rights violations linked to demolitions and forced displacement.
This war will have no winners, only losers.
Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has warned that Israel would respond to the launch of 5 rockets from Lebanon targeting the Metula settlement, marking the first such attack in 3 months. The Israeli Occupation Army radio reported the incident. Katz emphasized Israel's firm commitment to the security of its northern communities, holding the Lebanese government fully responsible for any rockets fired from its territory. He instructed the Israeli army to respond accordingly. The US State Department has called for the establishment of an inclusive, civilian-led government in Syria. Spokesperson Tammy Bruce stated that the US is closely monitoring the actions of Syrian leaders while determining its future policy. She emphasized ongoing US support for a government that includes all factions and is led by civilians, ensuring effective national institutions and representation. Also, the department mentioned potential exemptions that the US administration may announce soon regarding Syria.
Broad societal support is necessary for stability in Syria and the region.
And that's our top stories for this hour. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more updates here on Q News. Have a good day.